is that this IQ 101 Part 1 webinar will be recorded at the end of the session. By the end of the day today, you will get a copy of this recording in your email for you to review. So that is coming. So without further ado, I do want to get just a sense of who's in the room today. We've got just about 12 people in here. So how long have you been in the business and where are you joining us from? It's just nice to know, I've been doing this for 1 year or 5 years or 12 years or 6 years. How long have you all been in the business? Awesome. So it's really neat about these webinars is everybody does things a little bit differently. So we've got people who have been in the business for 7 months, and it looks like the most experienced person on the webinar today is about 16 years in. So everybody comes in with a different skill set. I'm going to do my very best to go ahead and jump in and give you really a good bird's eye view. But please know, Bill in Shreveport, you've not been doing this a full year yet, and so you're going to have questions, which is awesome. And Joanna, you've been doing this for a long time, which is fabulous. And anything that you have that you would like to share, or as I go through things, or you ask questions, I know that you can know that this business, part of the benefit is everybody's experience matters and everybody has different ideas and different ways to use the software. So we're excited that we're all here. You're all here. Awesome. Awesome, awesome. So without further ado, let's jump in. So I'm going to make my screen a little bit smaller just so it's easier to see. That's too small. I'm also going to scroll. I'm just going to blow it up a little. I know the resolution on these webinars is not the greatest, but hopefully, is that a little bit easier for y'all to see? Let's see. It's big enough. You can see it. You're ready to rock and roll. Perfect. So as you log into your IQ office, you're going to see a screen that looks really similar to this. And where we're going to start today, because I know that some of you are brand new to the industry and some of you are brand new to using IQ Office, is where do you go to adjust your profile? How do I make sure that my profile on the website is looking good and updated? So to do that, you're going to actually click on your name in the upper right-hand corner, and then you're going to go to this profile button. When you click on that profile button, it's going to pull out an edit screen. So you can actually go in there, you can see all of your information, and you can change your email address or your cell phone number. You can put in your Facebook link or your LinkedIn link or your Instagram. If you need to insert one of these links, the best way to do that is to actually go to YouTube, if that was the channel or the link you wanted to put in. And then in the upper right-hand corner, you would say, I want to go to my channel. And then just copy, which is Control C if you're a Mac. If you are if you're a PC, it's Control C. If you're a Mac, I believe it's Command C. And then in that YouTube slot, you're just going to hit Command V or Control V and click Save. And now my YouTube link is working. Below that social media links is a place for images. So you can actually go ahead and upload an image here. You're just going to click this upload button, add a file, and then you would go onto your computer, wherever it is, and you can actually add a photo. Once you drop it in, the first photo is the one that will always display. If you need to change that, you just go ahead and you can drag and drop, and now your photo on your website is updated. As I scroll down further, I can add things like a title or a certification. I can put my website address in here. If I need to change my password, I can click this change password button. And you are going to edit your profiles underneath the profile section. So you can actually go in, you can put your video video here. So if you know like, hey, this is my video of myself, you would just click that share button, copy it, and paste it into that space. And then below that is where you can actually go in and write about you. So I can go in and I can type in this box. So that you have your actual bio in this box. For those of you that were not on the webinar this morning, the reason I have red lines underneath these is I use a program called Grammarly that goes through and actually edits for me. So it tells me if I have bad grammar or incorrect punctuation. I'll type that in there in case you want to Google search it later. It's called Grammarly. But this is where you put your information on your bio. Now, where does this display? If you are on your company website and someone goes in and says, hey, I actually am looking for an agent. I need to find an agent. This information underneath about this paragraph is pulling from this section. Does that make sense to everybody? Bomb. Thanks, Bill. All of these tags, so LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, remember I added that YouTube channel. So if I can highlight over and click, here's actually taking it to that YouTube channel that I added. So these links are directly linked to these links. Once I delete something out and push save, and actually go and look at this profile, I can see now that that's not in there. Your profile video will show above your profile text. To edit this video, again, it's right here above your profile text. Once you click save, those changes are live. Cool. Awesome, awesome. So a couple other things I want you to know about on here. The first one is you have an option to add an email signature here. And you have the option to go custom. So if I click custom, I can actually then go in and edit all of this information here. But I also have the option to use this email signatures box on the right-hand side. And there are several templates in here that are email signatures. I can say, hey, I want to use this dark blue. It's going to automatically put my information in. Anything that I highlight over is something that I can edit in this screen. So I can actually click on my photo. I can say, wow, that resolution is not right. I'm going to use this. That's right now. If I need to go in and say, hey, this isn't my website, I can do that. I can click save. And now it's changed that information. So again, your About Me shows on your web. This email signature is going to come into effect when we start to talk about messaging. Once you've made all your changes on your profile, you're going to go in and click Save. That ensures that it actually saves to your profile and that it's live not only on your company site, but also on your website. So if you have a section that's About Me on your website, it's going to be the right, correct information. Any questions about actually going in and changing your photo, uploading your bio, where to go to do any of that? We clicked on our name in the upper right-hand corner, and then we went to profile. If you're shaking your head yes, unfortunately, What is it? My ESP or my ability to read your mind is not as good as it normally is. So I do need you to go ahead and say, nope, I don't have any questions, or hey, stop, I have a question. If you would rather just write the letter N in that box, I know that you don't have any questions and we can move forward. Thanks, Lori. Bomb. Thanks. And this also lets me know that you are all up to date. Deb, you were on my webinar this morning. I did not go in anywhere to create the video. I actually just pasted the video from wherever I hosted it. So if you have a profile video done, you have a videographer in your town, you did a Facebook Live, whatever it is, you just go to wherever that is hosted. Usually those are hosted on YouTube, and you can copy and paste them. Many of you have companies, so I could actually go in and look at my company. I hold my license up here with Coldwell Banker Sneidemiller. And I can actually go in, here's their channel, and I might want to choose a video that they've done. So maybe I go in and I say, okay, I want to know about the career videos, and I'm going to choose this one. So your company may have videos you can use until you go and get your professional video done. It's well worth the investment. Okay, how often do you update your profile? How often are you getting in there? How many of you, so Lori, Joanna, and Lily, and Judy, for all of you that have been in the business longer than 1 year, how often are you going in and updating your profile? I appreciate your honesty, Lori. So Lori says not often. When something changes, Judy, I hope that's vague. This is my advice to all of you. We live in a land now of constant updating. It just is what it is. So you need to be going in and updating your profile at least once a year. Yeah, that's super typical. So sometimes it's when things changes. Sometimes, most of the time, we set it up once and we don't look at it ever again. Lily's in the process of updating it. Even if it's just going in and saying, okay, quarterly would be better. Annually is a must. So like if you look at mine is pretty vague. It talks about my school. It talks about what I did in the restaurant industry. It talks about some things that I've done. Even if it's going in and saying, I am passionate about this charity, or I really enjoy this part of what I do. It's important that at least once a year, if not quarterly, you're going in and you're updating your profile. Everybody feel good about that? Bomb. Cool. So now we've gone in, we've uploaded our profile. The next thing I want to talk to you about is how to go in and update your lead preferences. Well, Bill, now you know where to go and do it. And that you need to put it on your calendar for once a year to go in and edit it. So the next tab underneath your profile, again, we're still underneath this section up here, is going in and setting up your notification for how you want to receive leads and tasks. And emails. So when do you want to be notified of new IQ messages? These push automatically to your email unless you choose never, and then they don't. I recommend leaving that as always. How do you want to be notified of new leads? By email, by text, or by phone? You have several options. Always, never, or use my office hours below. I recommend this. I recommend having one of these set to always. So I always get texts about my new leads. I never get phone calls. It's just sometimes it's too hard for me to be on the phone. I'm on a webinar, I'm talking to clients, you're showing houses, you've got a lot of irons in your fire as a real estate agent. So you have to decide, am I going to be able to pick up the phone and accept that lead? Yes or no? I also can say, hey, I want to get new leads by email, but I just want to get those emails when I'm in my office hours so that I'm not inundated with emails from the people who work shift work or hospitality, and they're looking at 3 o'clock in the morning and I'm getting all these email notifications on my phone. I also want you to think about what you text first what you check first in the morning. I always check my text messages in the morning right when I wake up. I do not always check my email first thing in the morning when I wake up. I tend to check have a cup of coffee before I dive into my email. The same is true by tasks. How do you want to be notified of tasks? By text or by email, you choose. I'm going to actually use my office hours for texts. And then how do you want to be notified by IQ Voice? So some of you are with companies, they call this, I think, home statistics. Some of them call it home info. Some call it info now. It's that number that your company assigns to your listings that when someone dials in or texts in, they get automated information on your listings. You can choose to get notified if you have a listing that way, or if you have a contact who calls on a sign. And if your office is using IQ Office for showings, same here. So this section is all of your notifications for leads and items. At the very bottom of this page are where you can set your office hours. The next portion we're going to go through are this default property flyer and your default action plans. So I'm going to share something with y'all here real quick. Just bear with me. I'm going to share some material. When you take a new listing, you are going to get an email that looks similar to this. It's not going to be exactly like this, but it's going to be similar. And it's going to say, hey, congratulations, Kim. You've got a new listing. You can share it. Here's all the websites for it. Here's your flyer that's automatically been created. And are you ready to order a postcard? When you do that, you can actually click on all these hyperlinks that you see on your screen, and it is going to pull your default property flyer for that email from this section. To change that, you would just click on the search button, and then you're going to choose from all the flyers available to you which flyer you would like it to be. So I may say, okay, I really like this property flyer 3 purple. That's the one I want to be my default. Below that, you can have action plans. Action plans are an automated set of tasks for listings or for leads. You can set your default action plan. So every time you take a new listing, I want it to be this new listing action plan. Every time I take a reduced listing, have a price reduction, I want to do my reduced listings action plan. And the same for leads. That is everything you need to know underneath your preferences tab. Are there any questions about your preferences? So far we're about 20 minutes in. We've talked about setting up your profile and setting up your preferences. Our goal is to get through just a couple things, more things. I know it's a lot of information. You've got about 20 more minutes with me, and then you're going to be set loose. I do, Lily. So I actually have that just listed action plan, and any new listing that I take, that plan is automatically applied to. Then I don't have to remember to like go down a checklist. My checklist is imported. I've got all my content in there. It automatically assigns it. I know what I have to do. I can actually start to just work my plan instead of planning my plan to work my plan. So the last thing I want to talk about on this sheet is this goals section, because I actually really love this goals section. And you can actually go in and create your goals for the year. So you can go in and you can say, hey, I know my living expenses for the year are about, maybe they're $55,000. I'm just making these numbers up. My commission earnings, so what I want to take home after my marketing expenses, I want to take home, let's say, 155,000. And that means my GCI with all of my marketing expenses and things, say, it's probably gonna have to be about 200,000. And the average sales price in my area is 320,000. The average commission rate per side is 2.98. And then I go through and I enter in all these red fields. So percent of my listings sold. So I sell about 80% of the listings that I take. And my new listings that actually come all the way through, say that's about 40%, which means this has to be 20% of my buyers and maybe 10% of my buyers fall out. When I click recalculate, it actually is going to tell me that I need to sell 21 homes this year. 17 of those needs to be buyer or sell side. 42 new listings is what I need to take based on these ratios. I need to be working with 4 buyers, and I need to close 4 buyers. I need to be working with 5 buyers at all time. I can go in and I can change this. Maybe this is 60 and this is 40. And when I click recalculate, notice that I still need to sell 21 homes to get to those numbers, but now I only need to be taking 31 listings and selling 13%. If I change this to 75, it changes that to 17 listings. So this is a way to gauge yourself and what you're doing and how it's working to actually build your business and start to work from square one today on where you're going. So that is the last thing that I'm going to do underneath your profile for you. Again, to get to that profile edit screen, you click on your name in the upper right-hand corner and then go to profile, and that's where you find all that information. The next thing I just want to briefly talk to you about is underneath this company on your main dashboard, you have a Me tab and you have a Company tab. Underneath your Company tab, you have some gauges that they've added. If they've added documents, new and reduced properties, there's some website statistics on what's happening, so you can actually see what's happening with your profile and with your properties that you have listed. You can also go in and see the company calendar. You can drop down and say, okay, I need to see the education calendar. Let's go education classes. Here's all this. Open houses that are happening. So that company dashboard is just a glimpse of what's happening on your company dashboard. You also can see all the actions that you have due here, and it will line them out as far as if it's a lead follow-up or a contact follow-up or a listing follow-up. Everybody feel good about that? Just kind of an overview of your Me tab is everything you've got going. Your company is a dashboard of everything your company has going. Cool. So on this company dashboard, you have some quick links. I'm just right on my home screen, Bill. Your home screen might not look like this. If you don't have anything in here, it's probably blank. It probably says 0 contacts and leads, 0 messages, 0 active listings. Yeah, no worries. No worries at all. So on this main dashboard, you can actually add favorite contacts. So if you have people you're in a transaction with or you're really working through things with, you can actually go in and you can add your contacts. So I could say, hey, I need to add Cinda to my favorites. It's as easy as clicking that plus button. You can search for a contact, and then you can just click on them and add them to this main dashboard. The benefit of having your favorite contacts here is that you can go in and you can easily edit them, log a text, log a call, or email them right from this home screen. So if there's someone that you need to be in contact with all the time, it's worth having them in your favorites. If they're in your favorites and you want to take them out of your favorites, you would just unstar this star next to favorite and click save, and it will take them out of that list. So let's talk about your contacts and your leads. I know a lot of you were on the webinar that I did this morning, but I do want to just do a brief overview of where you go, because in the heart of what IQ Office is, it is a place to manage your contacts. It's a CRM, a contact relationship management platform. So to get to your contacts and leads, you can either click on this screen here, or you can go to customer relations and go to my contacts and leads. That's going to bring up your main contact dashboard. If you want to see just your leads, you would click on the leads right here. I'm going to get to that question, Anna. If you want to see just your contact, you can click on your contacts here. So we're going to actually go in, we're going to just add one new contact. So you can click that plus new button. If you want to import an entire list of your contacts, you can do that. It's underneath your customer relations import contacts field. So I'm going to go in, I'm just going to add one new contact. I'm going to say, hey, this is Anna Shoot, and her email is demo and her cell phone is 123-456-7890. So Anna asked the question, how do you recommend saving past sellers who have moved out of area? So after I put this information, so we're going to pretend that this contact I'm adding in, Anna Shoot, is a past seller who left my area. I'm going to click save. When I do that, I have a whole bunch of other options here at the top of my screen. But I also have this box on the right-hand side that is contact types. And I can actually click this pencil here, and I can actually add a contact type that is past sellers out of state. Add that contact type. Once I'm done, I click done, and then I can categorize Anna by going in and saying, okay, past seller out of state, save. What's really nice and why I highly encourage you using your contact types is because now you can start to create marketing content focused at contact types instead of at particular contacts. That is what we're going to go through next week in the part 2. IQ Office 101 is how to do marketing campaigns and things like that. So do not panic that you don't know what that is today. That is expected. This is just an overview. So you can actually categorize your contacts. So I could say this is a past seller out of state. I also could say that maybe I know that Anna is a hiker and she also is a mom, and I also know that she is a referral agent now. And I can save all those contact types to her. So you can have multiple contact types for one person. If I go to the next screen, I have the same options for contact types. So these contact types, once they're checked, they only apply to that contact, but I have the opportunity to add them to multiple contacts. Below that is a note section. So this becomes where I can actually start to make notes about Anna. So I can say Anna has a Bernese mountain dog named Tiny. And I can add those notes. When this becomes really helpful is if I'm working and I'm scheduling my follow-ups and I have Anna on an action plan, I can go in and I can see all my notes about Anna. So I can be like, oh, don't forget, I haven't talked to Anna in maybe 3 months. She's moved away and I can call her and say, hey, Anna, just wanted to check in on how the move was. How's Tiny doing? Because as you grow your business, as many of you who have been in the business a long time know, and as many of you who just got into the business are probably hoping, it's impossible to keep track of everybody all the time. So I can go back through, I can see my notes that are happening, and I'm not lost. Everybody feel good about how to do notes and how to add contact types? Type a Y in the box if you are good with those two things. Thanks, Deb. Perfect. So below that, you can actually go in, you can start to add people to a campaign. So if I wanted to add Anna to a marketing campaign, I can click add campaign here, not assigned any campaigns. I can say, okay, I know that she likes gardening, and I'm going to actually put her also on maybe a seller resources campaign. This social profile is going to pull information based on this email that you have in here. So if this email is linked to social media accounts, they will populate here. What's really nice about this is a lot of times people will not connect with you via email anymore, but they will connect with you via social media. So you can actually go start to find those people on social media and have real conversations. I'm going to close this out. I'm going to bring up a lead just so I can show you an example of this. I think that it is this gal. So I can actually see here Joanna Russo. And I can see here's her Google Plus. I can see here is her Twitter. That's not the one I'm thinking of though, so bear with me here because I do think that this is important that you actually see it live. Dun, dun, dun. While I'm doing this, I'm going to show you how to filter. So you can actually go through and you can filter by contact type as well. So you can go in and say, hey, I only want to see my contact types that are match this header. And let's see. It's this gal. So here is this gal, Julie. Julie was a lead online from an ad that I ran. I can see all the images of her. I can see her organizations. I can see that she's part of the Super Retriever series. I also can go in and I can connect with her on Facebook, LinkedIn, Pinterest, or Twitter. If you go into her Facebook, it actually brings up her report, her profile. She wasn't responding to any of my emails, but I actually could message her through here. And we've actually been having an ongoing conversation through Facebook Messenger. So know that there's some value in this social profile part. Again, this social profile is pulling from whatever email they put in. Everybody feel good about that? The number one thing at normally pretty okay. So the number one thing that I usually get when I show people that is, hey, that's super creepy. Why would I want to go look at someone's social media? I don't know how I feel about stalking them online and that side of things. Yep, Anna, it's automatically going to try and pull it. And you can either check it again or you can mark it as invalid. So if it's not the right profile, you can mark it as invalid. It automatically is doing that. But your potential clients and your leads that are coming in are stalking you. And so it is important that you are learning about them as well. Is that a good way to find out if they have a bad email? Lily, that's really hard Because here's the other thing that is hard in this section is if you set up that email on like I use myself as an example. My Facebook email was originally set up with my college email account. And so that email is in existence somewhere in a deep dark hole in my life still, I'm sure, but it is not an active email. So I guess it would depend on if it is a good or bad or used or unused. It's really hard to know the answer to that question. The best way to know if it's a good email is to just email them. But good question, really good question. Absolutely. So again, you can add things like birthday or children's. You can check for their demographics. There's an activity score. So this activity score is going to show you how often they are logging into your website. I'm going to show you an example of this as well, but it's actually going to start tracking everything that you do with a client. So let's look at Susan here. So I can actually see in her activity score of 11 that she's done 10 website searches and she's logged into her portal once. If I click on these, I can actually go in and I can see what she's searching. So whatever search she did, this one doesn't have any more results. Let's find another one in here. Cindy and Mike are a good one to look at. So I can actually go in, I can see their viewed properties, and I can see every property that they've looked at. Every single one. So now next time I reach out and I call Cindy, I know that she and Mike are actually looking at homes between 360 and 450 with at least 2 bathrooms. And most of these look like they have 4 or 5 bedrooms. There's an oddball that's 2 bedrooms, 5 bedrooms, 3 bedrooms, 5 bedrooms, 5 bedrooms. So I can serve my clients better because I'm empowering them to go to my website. I know what they're doing on my website, but I'm not having to provide them and hold their hand the whole way. So how do you get it so people can log into your website? You actually, I'm going to go back to Anna so that we can have this. You actually would go over to this Property Watch tab. You would create a portal account. You put in their email address and you would click create. Christine, that's just going to be on this main details page. And that's going to be underneath this activity score. In order for them to have an activity score, I have found the best thing to do is to set them up with a portal. And Christine, you were on my webinar this morning, right? Yep. So going into this property watch, creating a property watch for everybody, because I think in life, we all want to know what's in real estate. Think back to a time when some of you who've been in this industry for a long time were brand new. Technology was not as great as it is. And some of you who are just getting in, everybody wants to go look at properties. The number one thing I feel like I hear new agents say is really like looking at Zillow and used to be Trulia, but Zillow and Realtor.com, and I like looking at houses. So give your clients and your sphere of influence the ability to actually go in and look at the MLS and get them off of Zillow so that you know based on their activity score what they're doing. And I don't go in and actually set them up with a search or anything like that. I say, hey, I'm going to go in, I'm going to create a property watch for you. I'm going to create your portal account. You're going to get an email, and then you can go in and actually look at all of that information. If they want to create a watch, they can create a watch. So let's see. If I go in and look at Susan, let's see if she's got a watch in here. Yep. So she's got a watch, a residential 1 to 3 bedroom condos from 0 to 350. I can see all the properties. I can see that there have been 106 that have been emailed to her. If she had saved any, I could view the save. If she had removed any, I could see the one that she removed. I can also filter up here. If I want to go in and preview this, I can actually click on view and see that property on my website. It automatically is happening, Anna. So your company has actually signed up. It's pulling from MLS as often as your MLS will export, and you don't have to worry about setting it up to MLS. It's already done for you. Does that answer your question? It's a direct feed of listings from your MLS. Cool. So we're about 42 minutes in. I do want to make sure you get a couple more things in this before we're done. And the first one is that underneath your action, when you create a contact, you also have the option to add a contact to an action plan. So I can actually go in and it's going to tell me all my contacts that are not assigned to an action plan. I can click assign and I can say, okay, I need this to be on a buyer action plan or an online lead action plan or an open house potential action plan. When I do that and click save, it's automatically underneath this action tab at the top going to have some things that happen. There's going to be an email campaign that it's added to. There's going to be a welcome to your portal email that goes out, an open house survey, and a weekly check-in point. If it does not have a date next to it, it means that it's automatically going to happen for you based on the settings in the system. If it has a date on it, it means that it is going to show up on your main dashboard as an item. So I can see here's that weekly check-in and a shoot. I can go in, I can view her from here so I can look at my notes, or I can complete the action by clicking done. I can log a text, I can log a call. It's easy peasy. The other thing that you can do, if you don't want to add an action plan, say, hey, I added this and I actually need to delete this off. It's going to take off the action plan other than the completed items. And I can actually add individual follow-ups. So if I need to follow up with Anna specifically on Friday the 16th about her daughter's 17th birthday, I can add that in here. Now when I go under actions, I can see here, no plan. It's due in 10 days. I can complete it from here. I can also see it on my main dashboard. So again, to do that, we were on the main page. We clicked schedule follow-up. We named the action item. We chose the date. And we clicked save. Yes, I tried. And I'm coming back to your question. To complete an item that is due, so I can actually go in and say, hey, I talked to Anna today. I said, hey, I know next Friday is your daughter's birthday. I just really want to say happy birthday. You just mark it as done. I can say called and chatted. Once I click save, it's going to ask me when I want to follow up with her again. And then you're going to go ahead and click schedule. So when you do that, if you're completing an action, that's part of an action plan? That's where I'm going next, Anna. I think this is your question. Let me know if I didn't answer it. Kim, I think it's your screen. I asked that about at the beginning of the session. And I know it's a little blurry, but it shouldn't be terribly blurry. So if you have, these are all your items on your to-do, whether they are part of an action plan or part of a manual follow-up. So if you went in and you added a follow-up here, or if you have actions that are due here, they will all populate on your home screen here. Once you mark them as done, so if I go in and I say, okay, what's due in the next 14 days, I'm going to mark this as done. If it is not a part of an action plan, it's going to ask me when I want to schedule my next follow-up. So if it's a manual follow-up that I added, it's going to say, okay, you followed up once. Do you want to follow up again? Yes or no, later or schedule. If it's part of an action plan, it's just going to complete that action, and then it's automatically going to assign the next action in the plan. Does that make sense, Anna? Is that clear to everybody else too, how this to-do list is populated? Any questions on that? Bill, Ryan, Deb, Kim? Okay, awesome. Thanks, Joanna. Bill, I don't know what your computer screen looks like, so I cannot answer that. That's a great question, Lily. So Lily says, does IQ notify us if a lead or contact has performed an activity, or do we have to go in and to know individually? That depends on how you have your profile settings set up for notifications. If they save a property or they create a watch, yes, you get a notification. If they're just opening your email, no, you don't get a notification. It's pretty cool. And it's all here on your main dashboard. So today we've talked about how to set up your profile. We've also talked about how to go in and get to your customer relations, my contacts and leads, how you can add an individual lead up here at the top by clicking the plus new. Also, how you can go in and either schedule a follow-up or assign them to an action plan. We also talked about categorizing your contacts by contact types and adding notes here and adding them to campaigns. If you would like to do a mass upload, there's a button underneath Customer Relations, Import Contacts, that allows you to, through a wizard, import your contacts. The next thing we're just going to briefly touch on, and then we're going to be done for the day, and I know there's a couple questions I have to answer in that chat box, is if you go into Files and you go to Documents Library, you have access to all the files that your company has uploaded. So all of your photos for your company that your company has uploaded for you are here. So if you needed an agent list, and again, these are specific to the company that I'm with, I could click, hey, I need to see the Montana agents, and I would get that document. I also have a home folder. So I have cloud storage for myself underneath that Documents Library home folder. I can actually go in and I can upload information. I can add files here. And then there's a shared folder, and everything underneath that shared folder are documents that you can share with anyone in your office. So we've gone through profile, your home, your customer relationship, and your file today. So what I would do is I would close out that chat box, or if you click the pin button at the top, you should see like a push pin at the bottom top. That might change the screen. That's a ton of information, by the way, in 51 minutes for all of you. The hardest thing about this is, and Kim said it really well, that she's going to have to get in and really work with this. The more you use the system, the easier it gets. The more that you go in and you're actually actively working in the system and coming to webinars and practicing, the easier that this gets. So for all of you, as knowing that this is geared at brand new users of IQ Office, I would highly recommend that you go in and you sign up for as many webinars as you can. Again, with that link that I shared in the text box earlier, it will really, really help you to be able to go in and actually sign up for these. I'm going to just copy that again and put it down here at the bottom of the chat so you don't have to scroll through to find it. The other thing that you will have is you have access to a Facebook group. So you can actually go into Facebook and there is a realistic users group. And here you can ask questions. We do our best to answer via video so that you can get answers on how do I style questions. And we also have a YouTube channel. So I'm actually going to go in, I'm going to put the YouTube channel in here for you as well. So first is the webinars, then is the Facebook, then is the YouTube channel. And you will get an email recording of this link. You know, honestly, Lily, I don't know if there's an expiration to that link. I don't think there is. But all of our webinars are also posted on our YouTube channel and on our Facebook page. So you can actually go into the playlists and you can select webinars or listing information or setting up your profile. There's also a new agent starting guide list here. And so you have access to a lot of that information. Those links are in the chat box. Christine, my screen is not blurry and I can make my screen bigger, but the software that we use, I don't have control over the resolution that you all see on your computers. I'm sorry for that. Are there any questions about how to do something or where do I click or anything like that? Bill, are you a part of, Bill asked a really good question. How do I get this on my iPhone? Because it all does work mobily. I will join the Facebook group. There are how-to actuallys for iPhones and for Android users, and I will pin those to the top of the page today so that you can easily find it and know how to do it. Yep. I do this IQ 101 part 1 and part 2 every month. And Lori, this is recorded, so you'll get a copy of the recording. Yes, just get in there and start using it. As a new user, I would recommend that you're spending at least 15 minutes every day. 15 minutes every day in your IQ office will help you immensely. Yep, you'll get a link.